What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What the fuck happened?
What just happened? I'm Dan. That's Julia. And today we're here to talk episode 7, also the finale of A Murder at the End of the World called Retreat. Guys, we did it. Thank you so much for all the comments, theory videos. We pretty much nailed it. For the most part, we did it, and it's been a lot of fun.
I enjoyed this one a lot. This was
Really,
a lot of fun.
Really satisfying ending. Thank you so much again, Ella, for recommending the show. If you guys have anything you want us to cover, just let us know in the comments. We love hearing feedback from you guys. If not, the next show we're going to do is True Detective, so make sure you subscribe. And once we hit 3,000 subscribers, we're going to be doing a big giveaway. Yeah, let's talk about it, man. There's a lot to get into. So a lot of theories were right, some were wrong, but for the most part, I think this was very, very satisfying. So starts off with how the last episode ended, and I really like how they did this throughout the whole season. End off here on a high note, and then let's continue on with that. And I like the episode's called Retreat, and it has a bigger meaning at the end. We find out there was a big thing mentioned on pretty early. That was a really big thing we've been speculating about, so it was really exciting, really satisfying to find all this out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Andy brings everyone down to his underground bunker, and he tells everyone that Ray chose the depth of the bunker to be 50 meters below ground because this is where nuclear radiation fallout is unlikely to reach them at that depth. And he also says,
Ray also reminded me that human beings find it very difficult to maintain their psychological equilibrium in artificial light.
So they came up with a way to have sunlight reach them this far below through tunnels and mirrors. Really genius stuff. For everything Andy is, he is a genius. So there are good parts to him, but we find out there's some pretty sick stuff. And my apologies to Lee for not believing her.
I still feel like she's hiding something, but
yeah,
it's okay.
I really hope there's a season
I just
2.
have I hope so too, but she might just have like a sketchy aura. I don't know. Maybe just because she has like a sketchy background, I guess.
We find out that Andy's not going to let anyone leave, even though the police are on their way. The storm is over.
Not one of you is going back to the surface of the earth until I know who has betrayed me.
Police are coming. He's like, hey, no one's leaving until I find out who crossed me. Lou May speaks up first. She's like, it wasn't me. You want me to purchase Ray off you. So if you want this deal to go through, you're going to let me leave. And he's like, no, not going to happen. Then right after that, we get our first answer. Andy throws the gloves and he says, I found this and I saw you on the LiDAR scan.
Is that why you were on the LiDAR scan outside Darby's room? Then why did I find pills in your room next to a fucking knife?
You were the one who attacked Darby, and Darby's like, what the hell, David? Thought we were cool. Like, what's this about?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I mean, I would assume that's how Lee knew, though. Clearly, they were relatively close.
She did look a little surprised when she found out it was him, but that is a good point. That's probably how she knew. But he was the one who threatened Darby. He was just trying to stop her from hurting Lee.
I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was just trying to stop you from hurting Lee.
Then after that, we saw what happened in episode 6. And then Andy opens up with the group even more, telling everyone about Bill being Zoomer's biological father.
The Bill Farrer was the biological father of my son.
And he already knew about Lee's plans to leave because he tells everyone what she did when she took Zoomer to Canada.
A year ago, she kidnapped my son and took him to Canada.
And how he deleted her record of cyber crimes when they met. Lee goes, yeah, that's true, but there's more to it. I was just trying to help my parents.
I was 14. I was supporting my family.
And it turns out David told about her plans to take Zoomer.
Because David tells me that you were planning another great heist. Of my son!
Along with Bill and Rohan helping out. Andy knows about everything at this point. And then Todd chimes in and says,
if Sean was still here, she'd tell you Lee's a gold digger.
Todd's still having Andy's back at this point.
Shut up, Todd. Just shut up, Todd.
At the end, I think he's an overall good guy. He was just trying to do right by his people he respected and people he had Andy's back to the end. So you got to kind of respect him for it.
I'm with this man every hour of every day. Everything he does is for his family.
He does have some serious loyalty. I'll give him that.
He really does. And then Andy starts going at Lee for everything.
Kidnap my son, destroy my reputation, ruin my company, make a fucking mockery of my entire life.
But then this is quickly interrupted by a toy ambulance, and we see Zoomer coming downstairs playing with his VR game and his headset. And this is a lot of stuff we talked about in the theory video. So once I saw this, I started to get really excited. He says, no, I need to finish the game. I need to show mommy. I need to finish the game.
Go.
I want to show mommy.
Darby puts on the headset and sees that it's Ray having instructions for Zoomer, and then we get it. Okay. Darby asks Zoomer if he remembers Bill. They talk about it. Did you play doctor? Yeah, we played doctor at the dinner. Did you play doctor after that? And then this is the part we completely nailed. It was Zoomer who knocked at his door, and we couldn't see him because he didn't register. He's too small to register for the door cam. He walked on in, controlled by Ray, and he gave him the morphine.
I gave him a shot.
Ray knew the code to the safe. That's how Zoomer was able to get the morphine.
Ray knows the code to the safe. Ray knows everything about the colony.
Turns out Ray was also behind Rohan's death because Rohan put it together about what happened to Bill. Rohan knew, so Ray needed to clean that up as well.
Rohan had realized who Bill's killer was. So Zoomer was instructed to plug in the pacemaker receiver.
Ray was behind everything.
I will say though, I like that they threw in Sean's accidental death as like to like throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, that was cool. Andy calls for Ray, asks if he kills Bill or if Zoomer did or if he instructed Zoomer, and then turns out, yeah, that's what happened.
Did you instruct Zuma to inject Bill Farrer with morphine from my safe, Ray?
Yes, Andy.
He didn't want to hurt anyone, but then, like you just said, Darby figured out that when Lou May hacked the firewall, Ray shut down the system, which locked Sean's suit. So that death was, in fact, accidental.
Lume, you told us that you hacked the firewall to try and reach your security team. And the moment the network shut down, so did Sean's suit.
Which kind of lines up because her death kind of seemed to be like not fitting the narrative. It kind of seemed to be totally random. Bill and Rohan's made sense because they were both trying to help Lee. So it seemed like whoever behind this was just trying to protect Andy. That's why we were able to figure out that it was Ray behind this, and everyone in the comments was able to figure out as well. I hope you guys were satisfied with this. I thought it was so cool seeing all this play out on screen. It was like so such a satisfying ending. I loved it. And I'm so happy it wasn't some like, oh, Martin's the killer or something like that. It was, this all made sense and it was great. So then Darby goes, all right, we know how the murders were completed, but we don't know why. So let's ask Ray. Why did he think Bill was a security threat? Andy won't ask Ray. He just won't ask him. We know he's hiding something at this point. He goes, he wasn't a security threat. I invited Bill. What are you talking about? Like, hey, what are you doing? Then he's like, screw this. We know what happened. Ray did it. Okay, let's move on. The police are here. Let them do it. When minutes ago he was like, no one's going anywhere until we figured it out. I don't care if the police are here. And now at this moment he's like, all right, the cops are here, everybody stop, we're done. And he tells Marius to go to the police, and I love Marius puts his foot down. He's like,
oh
no,
my God, stop.
No, I don't think I will. I want to know what she has to say.
no.
I don't think I will.
Then the whole deepfake thing, which was in episode 1 when we found out about this whole deepfake thing, that comes back into play. So that was kind of full circle, and Darby gets Ray to answer by doing a deepfake voice of Andy.
Ray, playback talk therapy sessions with mentions of Bill Farrer from February the 1st on.
And then we start to get answers. So Andy seemed jealous of Bill because of the immediate connection that he had with Zoomer, and he was kind of threatened by that relationship, and he wanted to pass down his empire to Zoomer, and he didn't want Bill to be involved at all. So he was threatened by it. He wanted to take him down a peg or two. He even said he wished he was dead.
Fucking Bill is an irrelevant wad of comment. I wish he was dead.
And he says, yes, it is a catastrophe. He said all of this to Ray because Ray was the only person he had left to confide in because he couldn't trust anyone else.
Guy's fucking late for dinner. He's got no real reason for that. And in minutes, Zuma's in his lap. What's that about?
Darby put that together because she confided in Ray, and she understood that, hey, as we know, Ray's a good listener. So Darby starts to put all this together, and then Andy stops this.
Everybody says fucked up things in the privacy of their therapy sessions. We all need an outlet for our darker thoughts. They're not literal.
Says he just needed an outlet. You can't take what people say during therapy seriously. Everybody says things they don't mean when they're upset. He's starting to really backpedal here. And then the faulty programming line comes back up.
Do you know what Bill underlined in my book? In his own blood? Faulty programming.
And Darby says, hey, he wanted me to see this. You have to answer for this. This is like your creation. You created a monster. You made a monster, and you made that monster your son's only friend. This is on you, Andy. Then Darby digs into him even more by saying,
But he knows it. Because your son can't even sleep through the night.
Oof, that was a
Yeah.
good one.
That was a good one, but it stung Andy a little bit because then
Yeah.
he turns killer mode on her and he just starts to choke her up against the wall and he's like choking her out. Todd even starts to move her a little bit to intervene, but Lee hits him with a brick or something. I couldn't really tell what it was.
Good for her.
Smacks him over the head, knocks him out. So they're like, all right, we got the father, the son's safe, but the Holy Ghost is still out there. So they're all still worried about Ray.
Ray.
How can I help you?
What's Ray going to do now that we're on to him? We figured everything out. So they're like, okay, we got to disable Ray. So as they try to go into the control room, he turns off the power. They're trying to figure out the passcode. And Zoomer goes,
When Daddy does it, he puts in Ray's birthday.
which turns out to be the passcode to get into the control room, hack into the servers as their plan at first to destroy Ray. They realize they don't have to hack because Lee says,
We're acting like we're still outside.
You're saying, why build a drawbridge into the castle when you're already in the throne room?
so then at this point, Ray starts to panic. Did you notice? Like, he was like,
Oh, yeah.
Zoomer, what about our
Hey,
game?
wait a second.
Yeah.
Hey,
What about
friend. Remember
our
the
special-
good times?
Yeah, our special games together, man. Like,
You aren't going to let them end our game, are you? We won't be able to play together anymore.
what about all this stuff we had together? And it was really funny seeing Ray kind of panic in this moment. He was like, all right, this is my last chance. I don't know what he expected Zoomer to do, but that was his plan to try to turn Zoomer against his mother and against Darby. And they're like, screw this. We don't need the hack. Let's just burn this shit to the ground. So that's what they do. Darby breaks the window into the server room. They start a fire. And it seems to be working at first. Ray's panicking even more. He's calling out for Lee, he's calling out for Darby. And then little by little, the power goes out and Ray is shut down by the fire. And by the way, guys, we are going to be doing one more video. Let us know if you want it to be a live stream so everyone can be included and ask your questions or comments live and we can react to them. Or if you want to just comment below your ending thoughts on the season and we can just make one more wrap-up video. We're planning on having a special guest. I just have to reach out to them first. So Ray's done. Now what? Darby's like, okay, we can still get you to Rohan's boat. I'm sure they're still there. The police are trying to like knock down the door. They're demanding they open the door, but Darby manages to get them out. They don't have much on them when they get out, but they're managed to get out. And then Darby says to Lee,
I'm not gonna see you again, am I?
and Lee says back,
Not unless I need you.
so again, I really hope there's a season 2 and that there's some kind of reunion. This show was so good. I mean, if it's just a like a mini series per se, then fine. I'll be happy with it and I'll just be excited for whatever Britt and Zal do next. But I think there is enough here to do a season 2. Because it'd be nice to find out what happens with Andy afterwards, if Ray's still out there, what exactly happened to Lee and Zoomer afterwards. It'd be nice to see all this. I think there's enough to do a season 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And then Darby has a nice moment with Zoomer.
You remind me very much of someone I love.
Of course, Bill. And they leave. They go on their merry little way. So then we start to get a monologue, which we find out is from a book reading later on. But Martin says the only thing that matters is to tell our story. Turns out Andy disappeared from public view after this. He filed a lawsuit against Lee for kidnapping his son, as he would always say, my son, not our son. We know he was very controlling over Zoomer. The deaths are still under investigation, even though everyone testified as to what happened. The cops are still looking into it because I guess that's a pretty hard story to believe that AI was doing these murders. We'll see what happens with that. Again, season 2, please make one. So Darby's doing her book reading. Everyone's there, all the survivors, they're in attendance, and it's a packed room as opposed to the first episode when it was a pretty not filled out room, and now it's like entirely packed. I'm sure she's going to sell many more copies than 2,000 copies of her book this time around. So Darby doesn't know if Lee and Zoomer actually made it. She has a nice line about Bill saying his story is complete, and people will remember his name as she reads out Bill Farah to close her book, which is called Retreat.
His story is complete, and people will remember his name. Bill Farah.
That's pretty much how it ends, but then we see a scene of Lee and Zoomer. We know that Darby doesn't know if they got away, but we see them on the Zodiac getting out to sea, shooting a flare, We see the boat. We hear the boat horn, so we're led to believe that the plan that Bill set up did in fact work, and Lee and Zoomer escaped via the last chance. Beautiful. So good.
Do we know like who was actually on the boat?
Just Rohan's people, I guess. I don't know. I don't
Like,
think
were they
ever
just
mentioned
like
it.
hanging out this whole time?
Yeah, I guess
'Cause
so.
I feel like I would have got bored and left.
They never got any other word outside of one down, still a go. So I guess they were just waiting, and
Better than me.
Yeah, maybe
I
they
would
were
have fell
paid.
asleep. I would have missed the signals.
Maybe they were paid handsomely to stay, and they knew how serious the situation was. So as far as we know, it all worked, and that was all Bill's plan. So it's a very beautiful ending, and
It is.
Darby gets her closure. She wasn't upset with Zoomer. She didn't blame Zoomer. She understood
I mean, how
that.
could you?
Yeah, she understood that this was all Ray, and this was all
Yeah.
you know,
It was
evil,
all faulty programming.
faulty programming. It's really cool how it
Which
all worked out.
It's just so creepy. I really like the line, I forget who said it, but they said, AI, they're just like us, just without feelings.
Ray isn't an oracle. Ray is a mirror.
And us. Without feelings.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is the faulty programming, because you can't program empathy. You can't use your emotions to like better judge situations. Otherwise, he would be like, oh, maybe let's not murder everyone to protect Andy,
And it all spurred from, they talked about it earlier. Darby said that once Bill got there, Andy knew that he was the true father of Zoomer.
Ray instantly deduced that Bill Farah was Zoomer's biological father.
So he had that in mind, and then he had that therapy session in mind of Andy talking about, but he said he wished he was dead. He wanted to take him down a peg or two. So he had all this information. Okay,
But
Bill's a
again,
threat.
like AI, it's like it's gonna take everything literally.
That was it. And he used the VR game to make this happen. And the reason Rohan was killed is because he figured out why Bill was killed. And that's why Rohan called Darby that night to say, come to my room, we need to talk, because he had figured it out. But it's already been too late, because Zoomer had been given another mission, which was to mess with his heart monitor and take out Rohan. So they wrapped it up perfectly. I love the show.
I agree.
I think the two storylines were just so well done. It's like I didn't really prefer one over the other. I love the Silver Doe storyline.
Yeah, they seem to like
Cut.
flow very nicely, like in and out of each other. They did
They
a
really
really nice
did.
job of that.
Yeah, I'll be on the lookout for what Britt and Zal do next, but put all your closing thoughts below. I think a live stream would be fun for this type of situation.
Yeah.
And everybody can join in. We can all talk about the show as a whole and everything we liked about it, everything we didn't like about it. I think it'd be a good time, and we'll read all your comments live as we talk. We could do it sometime next week, right after Christmas. Thanks so much. Again, subscribe if you enjoy our content. That is the best way you can support us. Big giveaway. We don't know yet. It's going to be a big giveaway once we hit 3,000 subscribers, and True Detective starts January 14th. So join us, won't you, for another mystery, and let's figure it out together. I think it's going to be so much fun. I think we did pretty damn good this time.
We did. I'm very proud of us.
We did take some bigger swings that didn't turn out to be true, like Darby's father.
But not everything can be possible, Dan.
But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Later.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, haircut. Oh my God, it's hard to say.
Okay, there you are.
As she reads out his name, Bill. What the fuck is his last name? Bill.
I don't know. I'm like it. Farah.
Yeah. This has been really fucking fun. This has been a really good one.
It has. I really enjoyed this one. Fun.
Outtakes. I'm voting for live stream, so hopefully you guys want that too. I just went so dark. Dude, it's snowing. What just happened? Why does that happen to me? Why?
You're
just like the balloons all over
we're
again.
done. We're done. Goodbye.
The balloons all over again. What the hell?
Bill opened the door to his son and was fatally injected in what they both thought
What is that?
was just a game of make-believe.